Hello again, Algebra 2 students. We're in Tier 3, Lesson 2 of our complex number syllabus. This is simplifying radicals using I, and we're going to look at a little conceptual stuff with this now that you are in Tier 3. And to look at this conceptual stuff, I'm going to remind you of the rules of exponents. And specifically, the rules I'm going to remind you of is the power of a power rule and the multiplication rule. These two rules will really help us as we conceptualize what's happening down here in our tables. So here we know that I times 1 is just I. And then we know I times I, this is I squared. But we also know from previous units that I squared equals what? It equals negative 1. The third one is I times I squared, which is going to be I to the third, because that's this exponent rule up here, because it's I to the first times I to the second. So that's going to give us the first plus the 2, 1 plus the 2. So that gives us I to the third. But I to the third can be broken down to I to the first times I to the second, which is just negative 1 times I. So this is actually going to give us negative I. And then this is going to give us I times I to the third, which this right here is I to the fourth. We can break this into I squared times I squared, which gives us negative 1 times negative 1, which gives us a positive 1. And then we know that I to the fourth is equal to positive 1 because of right here. So I to the fifth is just going to be I again, because it's going to be positive 1 times I. This I to the fifth times I is going to give us I to the sixth. So that's going to give us 1 times, because I to the fourth, if you remember, is just 1. And it's going to give us times I to the second, because that's I to the second times I to the fourth gives us I to the sixth, which is negative 1. So this is going to give us a negative 1. And if you can notice the pattern here, as I clean this up for you a little bit, if you notice the pattern here, it goes I, negative 1, negative I, 1, I, negative 1. So the next one, we would assume, and it holds true, that it is negative I. And then the next one is just 1, because this is I times I to the seventh, which is I to the eighth. Well, I to the eighth can be broken down to I to the fourth times I to the fourth, which is just 1 times 1. So yep, that holds true right here. So our pattern is holding. So after 1 again, we go back to I, then we go back to negative 1, then we go back to negative I, and then we go back to 1, because again here we have I times I to the 11th, which is I to the 12th, which we can break down into I to the fourth times I to the fourth times I to the fourth, which gives us 1 times 1 times 1. So yes, that holds true again right here. Obviously after 1, we go back to I. So this is what we know. Every time we have a power of I to the fourth, it equals 1. That's a real important concept when we're dealing with this conception. This concept allows us to come down here and simplify these imaginary units. So like right here, remember, I to the fourth equals 1. And right here, I have I to the 18th. Well, how can I break out fourths? Well, I can go I to the fourth times I to the fourth. That gives me I to the eighth. Well, not there yet. Times I to the fourth. That gives me I to the 12th. Still not there yet. Times I to the fourth. That gives me I to the 16th. I'm still not there yet. Oh, but I can go times I to the second. So this is just 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. So basically what ends up happening is all of this here goes away because it's just 1, and you're left with whatever I squared is. And if we come back up to our chart, we see that I squared is right here. And we should know that I squared is equal to negative 1 from our previous work. So I to the 18th is negative 1. So let's play with it even a bigger number. We have I to the 99th. Now, I don't want to do this again, right? So I can use the power of a power rule for exponents. So I can just go 99 divided by 4. 99 divided by 4 is 24.75, which means I have 24 i's to the fourths, which are all going to be 1s. So all those cancel out. And then I have 0.75, which if we take that 0.75 and convert it into a fraction, we know it's 3/4. So I'm going to have 3 left over. So I'll have my 24 I to the 4th, and then I'm going to have an I to the 3 left over. And if we remember, I to the 3 from this chart up here is negative I. So I to the 99th is negative I. Okay, so using the product power rule, we would then take I to the 4th power 24 times. And that would give us all these ones right here that we spoke about. And that would leave us the I to the 3rd, because again, 4 times 24 is 96. And then we still have 3 left over, and that is what goes to our I to the 3rd.